What was never meant to be a career has become one of the most secure professions in America. 10 years, 20 years, 40 years in office, guaranteed pension, investment accounts, government-backed health care. At what point does public service become permanent power? Today we're talking about term limits and why America desperately needs them. Welcome back to Behind the Line podcast. Today isn't about a single bill or a headline. It's about structure. It's about incentives. It's about whether we still have a citizen legislature or whether we now have a professional political class. And I want to be very clear. This isn't about left versus right. This is about power. And I'm not talking about just states. I'm talking about federal as well. The reality of Congress today. Let's start with the facts. Right now, the average House member serves about 8 to 9 years. The average senator serves about 11 to 12 years. Over 200 members have served more than a decade. Around 60 or more members have served 20 years or longer. Some have served 30 and even 40 years. That is not short-term public service. That is a career. Reelection rates often exceed 85 to 90%. At that point, elections stop functioning as real term limits. They become formalities. Now let's talk about money. The median net worth of a member of Congress is around $1.2 to $1.3 million. The median American household, under $200,000. Some members are worth far more than that. Now, I'm not against success, but we have to ask, why does the group writing the laws consistently end up far wealthier than the people living under them? The gap began widening dramatically in the 1980s and accelerated in the 1990s. That's when we saw permanent fundraising machines, massive incumbency advantages, expansion of federal power, and growth of lobbying. The revolving door between Congress and corporate America. The longer someone stays, the more connections they build. The more connections they build, the more influence they gain. Even if everything is technically legal, the incentives are clear. The founders did not design Congress as a lifetime identity. George Washington stepped down voluntarily after 2 terms. Thomas Jefferson warned that long-held power breeds corruption. James Madison believed elections would prevent entrenchment, but here's the key difference. They assumed elections would remain competitive. They did not design a system where incumbents win over 90% of the time. They expected rotation. They feared aristocracy. They rejected permanent ruling classes. Now let's talk about something most Americans don't fully understand. Members of Congress receive both a guaranteed pension and a 401 K investment account. Social Security, continued access to federal health insurance. They are part of the federal employees' retirement system. Here's what that means. If a member serves just 5 years, they qualify for a pension once they reach retirement age. 5 years. If they serve 20 years, they can retire as early as age 50 with a pension. That pension is calculated from their $174,000 salary. A 20-year member could receive roughly $55,000 to $60,000 per year for life, adjusted for inflation. For life. That's a defined benefit pension. Most Americans no longer have that. On top of that, they also participate in the Thrift Savings Plan. That's essentially a 401k. They contribute, the government matches up to 5%, and it grows over time. They take it with them. So they have a guaranteed lifetime pension, a government-matched investment account, and Social Security. Most Americans today have maybe a 401k, maybe a match, and Social Security. That's it. Healthcare. Retired members can remain in the federal employee health system if they were enrolled long enough. They pay premiums, but the government continues covering roughly 70% of the cost. It's not free, but it's stable, large group coverage, something many retirees would love to have. Now, to be fair, this structure is not unique to Congress. Federal employees have similar retirement systems, but members of Congress earn $174,000 a year. Their pension is calculated off that higher base, and the longer they stay, the larger the pension becomes. There is built-in incentive to stay. Now here's the counter-argument. Term limits would hurt foreign policy. We'd lose institutional knowledge. There would be less experience. Yes, there would be trade-offs. Experience matters, continuity matters, but permanent power carries its own risks. Experience without accountability becomes insulation. The longer someone stays, the more relationships they build with lobbyists, contractors, donors, committee power structures. Corruption does not always look like envelopes of cash. It looks like influence, access, future opportunities. Incentives shift over time. Even good people adapt to the systems they live inside. If we had term limits would break the long-term power accumulation cycle, reduce seniority dominance, open seats more frequently, encourage younger leadership, bring in fresh ideas, and force regular reset. Would we lose some expertise? Yes. But will we also reduce entrenchment? We would weaken the incentive to treat office as a lifetime career. Public service was meant to be temporary, not a profession, not a retirement strategy, not a pathway to post office monetization. Long-term tenure plus high salaries, guaranteed pensions, investment accounts, high reelection rates, growing wealth disparity creates a political class, and the longer they remain, the more insulated they become from the people they represent. At some point, representation shifts. They are no longer living under the same economic pressures as the average American. They are managing institutions, maintaining influence, protecting position. This is not what a republic was designed to be. The founders feared concentrated power. They rejected monarchy. They warned about permanent political elites. We don't have kings, but we do have political lifers. Term limits would not fix everything, but they would restore rotation. They would disrupt entrenchment. They would remind every elected official, you are here to serve, not to stay. Because when power never leaves, the people eventually feel like they already have.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.